Hey guys, I'm back. I'm going to talk to you about four things today. One, I'm going to talk to you about some new toys that I got recently. Two, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of movies I saw on Hulu and Netflix. And three, I'm going to talk to you about the last video I posted really quickly, which has to do with the Back to the Future birthday cake. That's going to be really quick. And four, what was number four? Oh yes, I got a package from Amazon with some parts of my Halloween costume to try to make it more workable for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party this year. So, it's not going to be in that order. First, really quickly, here's what I want to say about my sister's birthday party video that I posted recently. I just reposted that. And the reason I did that is because I had to do a little editing. The scene where you see my sister blowing out her candles, you don't really see her, you just see the fire going out. Well, unfortunately, that was filmed incorrectly. I filmed it holding my camera horizontally instead of vertically. So, it ended up being stretched when I put it on YouTube. So, I've fixed that and I've just reposted it. And if you don't want to go back and rewatch the whole thing, I'm going to tack that on to the end of this video. It's like 3 seconds of the candles being blown out, and that's where you get the effect of the parking lot scene, the Back to the Future parking lot scene, where the fire tracks are happening, and the car takes off. That was kind of like the idea behind that cake. And it came out pretty decent. The video came out okay if you see it close up. But I have to warn you, and you probably heard this if you watched the other video, that the fire alarm did go off, so you can hear that blaring in the background. I've lowered the volume on that a little, but it's still probably pretty loud. So if you want to watch that and hear the fire alarm blaring, what happened with that actually is, and this is also why I filmed it wrong, we had already done blowing out the candles and everything. That whole part of the party was done, but I forgot to film it. So we're like, okay, let's light them all really quick again, so I can just film them, because that was like the cool part of the cake was seeing the fire tracks, and they looked really cool when they were being blown out. So we relit them, and they looked even better because they were closer to the cake, but they also set off the fire alarm, so that's what happened with that. Anyway, that will be at the end of this video. Or if you haven't seen the video where I actually make the cake, and we also show my sister opening the present that I gave her, not all the presents, but the present that I gave her, which was a collection of time travel movies, which was the theme of her birthday party this year, because she's a big sci-fi fan and a huge Back to the Future fan. So that's what that was about. But anyway, there's a whole video on that. It's the previous video, and I've reposted it, so I'm going to remove the old video. So, yeah, if you liked or commented on the old video, do it on the new video. And, like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'll tell you now. Okay, so that's out of the way. I'm going to tack that on the end of this. Now, toys, new toys. Okay, now I said it'd be a while. I haven't found a new job yet. I'm still working where I'm working. I still have to go to Mickey's Not So Scary, and it's when I come back that I'm going to start applying for some other jobs, because as I've said before, it looks like my office is probably closing up. All of our hours have been cut in half, so I'm going to be looking for another job. But, so yeah, I'm pretty tapped out right now. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to bring back any souvenirs from Disney. We'll see. I'm trying to sell some stuff on Facebook, and because I haven't really gotten into eBay yet, and I'll probably get into that soon, but I've been selling a few things on Disney Garage Sale on eBay. I mean on Facebook, and there's a Barbie Garage Sale too, where I've been selling some Barbie style dolls, and Barbie dolls themselves. I have like a Batgirl Barbie, and I might keep that one if it doesn't sell. I love Batgirl, but yeah. So and I have a few things for sale. I'm trying to make some money so I can get some souvenirs, because there's a few things I really want to bring back. They have a Hocus Pocus ornament this year because of the Halloween performance they do. But anyway, so yeah, I might be going over there totally broke. So yeah, not really any money for toys, but I still have a few to show you. Let me start with the main thing, and that is this new. It's not an apple. The new Happy Meal. Wow, when I was a kid, the focus was all over the box, but the new Happy Meal, Justice League, and DC Superhero High. So, and like I said, I love Batgirl, and I love Supergirl almost as much. This version I love just as much. In this particular show, I might lean towards Supergirl. I don't know. But yeah, and Wonder Woman looks great. I'm not normally that into Wonder Woman, but I like this one. I mean, all these characters are really adorable. All the girl characters, Bumblebee, and they have Katana. Anyway, and they do, for the boy toy, I guess they still make a separation there. But get whatever you want. I get the girl toys because I like cute girls. I don't really need. I mean, if I'm going to get Superman action figures, I tend to get the movie ones, or or the animated show ones. But like the Bruce Timm ones. But yeah, this is based on a line of direct-to-video things. I didn't even realize that when I started seeing these DVDs coming out of this, it's Justice League Action, which is more kid-oriented, kid-aimed. I didn't even make the connection later when this came out, Superhero High, DC Superhero High. Oh no, well they call them Superhero Girls, but it's also Superhero High. I've seen it called that too, and yeah, I didn't even connect that. Yeah, this was their new boy line and their new girl line. Which again, I'm not pushing the gender stereotypes they are, but I love. I mean, I love the designs on these. Look at Supergirl, gorgeous. Now Batgirl, I love Batgirl. I didn't like her design as much on this show. I mean, I'm talking about her outfit. I didn't really like the little bat wings and the mask is kind of and she wears a hoodie. I mean, I wear a hoodie all the time too, but it's not. It doesn't look like it looks weird. It's a weird looking costume. Supergirl's costume I love on this show. I mean, I don't know now if I prefer this or the Bruce Timm version. But yeah, I do prefer this Wonder Woman. But yeah, so these are the toys they're doing right now at McDonald's. And I gotta say, I haven't been buying Happy Meal toys for years. I used to collect them, which was probably a bad idea for my health. But this is like the first time and I wasn't gonna get these because they have real action figures of these. I mean, it started out, it's one of those things like, oh, look at these Monster High dolls are a big hit. Let's make DC superhero dolls. And that's basically what this is. And so they made dolls, but they also made action figures, which was really cool. I'd probably collect Monster High if they were like action figures like that. I don't think they have them that look as much like action figures as these. But anyway, so I have the real action figures because I did a video on those. I went out and bought them as soon as they came out. And so these are smaller. They're a little less detailed, and they're and I'm going to show you one in a minute. And they have like real hair, not real. They have like hair. It's not like a hard plastic thing, which the actual action figures, like 6-inch action figures, they have like solid plastic hair, and I kind of like that better because over time the real hair can really get messed up. But it's something that makes them different. The McDonald's one's different. But I wasn't going to collect them. But my mom's visiting right now because we have that trip we're going to take, and she likes to get deals, and she knows that where she lives the Happy Meals were on sale, and she wanted to go get one. And here they're not on sale, but we were already there, so we each picked up one. And because I knew that they had these, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll go get a Happy Meal. And so we got our Happy Meal, and these are the toys. And my mom got the boy toy, which was Green Arrow, and they're on #1 now, so that's good. I mean, sometimes with Happy Meal toys, you go to McDonald's and they've actually got all of them there, or sometimes they have 2 or 3, or sometimes they're actually doing them in order, and apparently right now they're doing them in order. Now I'm not going to open this one because I'm going to trade this for another girl because she decided she didn't want it. I guess she was going to give it to as a gift to give it to my nephew or something, but I guess she decided just to not keep it. So I'm going to swap it out, try to get another character from DC Superhero Girls, which this is the Wonder Woman one, which I did already open. And these are nice figures if you don't want to shell out the dough for the actual figures, which are $10 a pop. I mean, these, I don't know if you still can, but you used to be able to go and buy the toy by itself for like $1 or I don't know if it's $1 or I guess $1. $2 would be like as much as a Happy Meal almost. So I don't know. I mean, it's a better deal. Just get the Happy Meal. But yeah, this is the figure, and take it out of the plastic here for you. And it's a nice figure, and I like that her hair is black, because on the figure it's entirely purple, and this one just has like a purple highlights, which I'm normally not a big fan of highlights, but I think it works with this figure. Yeah, and this is it, and it's not like, you know, it's a Happy Meal toy, so you've got some little imperfections with the paint and stuff, but you have that with the real figures. Now the thing is, it's not really posable. It turns at the waist, it turns at the head. I don't want to mess her hair up, but her head does turn and her waist turns. Her arm does not move. Her arm, oh, this arm moves. Okay, this arm moves. That one does not. The legs don't move. Nothing else moves. Just here and the waist and the neck. So she's got like 3 points of articulation. There's an odd double separation at the neck, and I don't know what that's about. But really pretty little figure. It's not, I'm not saying it's not as good as the bigger figures, but you know, for the price, it's really good. And for me, with superhero toys, I mean, with Happy Meal toys, I always liked it better when they did figures. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They have Wonder Woman, they have Katana, and that's one reason I was really considering getting these from the beginning. And it's really, this is still like the first week, I think. And they have Supergirl, and they have Batgirl, and they have Bumblebee. And then the sucky thing is they have 3 other toys, and they're like a bracelet, like a Supergirl, like, well, headband. It's like a headband, and they have like a Batgirl mask, and they have something else, I think a Wonder Woman headband or something. I don't know if the Supergirl one is a wristband or a headband, but yeah, and it's like they missed out an opportunity for 3 more figures, and for me that was always disappointing with Happy Meal toys when they didn't do figures when they could have or should have. And I mean, not making a Harley Quinn figure, especially right now, that's really weird. It doesn't seem like a smart move that they didn't make Harley, but I'm kind of excited that they have a Katana figure. I'm hoping that they come out with Katana with the actual figures, but they haven't yet. And I don't know how popular this line is. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more merchandise from this line. So either it's doing well, or they're just going with the plan that they had, and they're still waiting to see how it goes. I don't know, but I think this stuff. I think this line is actually doing well. I don't know for sure. I could be totally. I'm just guessing, really. But I hope it is, because I mean, you know, I've never gotten into Monster High or any of that other stuff. I mean, it's made for little girls, I know, but but I like really kawaii style girls, really cute style girls. So this is like my favorite way to see like DC superhero girls, is like make them really cute. That's the kind of girls I like. So yeah, this line, you know, these girls I might prefer to even the, well, they're right up there with the Bruce Timm girls for me. And yeah, these are nice figures. It's a shame they didn't make more characters, but they did give us one that the 6-inch figure line did not give us, and that's Katana. I'm hoping she's coming to the 6-inch line. If she does come to the 6-inch line, I don't know. I really don't need these since I have the whole 6-inch line, and I'm going to keep getting them. But but I'll probably keep them anyway because they're pretty cool. If I get the rest of the characters, I'm not gonna bother with the headbands and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty neat. This is what McDonald's has right now, and like I said, I don't usually get Happy Meal toys anymore. The last Happy Meal toys I got were when they did the Peabody and Sherman movie, and I only got 2 from that, and that was just the bobbleheads of Peabody and Sherman, because you couldn't really find any other toys from that movie. I wish they made I don't know if the girl's name was Penny, but there was a girl in the movie, and I wish they'd made her too to like have the main characters, but they didn't. And the other toys I didn't care much for. But yeah, that was the last Happy Meal bit of toys that I've gotten, and before that, it's really been years. But yeah, you've got this, and you've got Green Arrow, and he's got a little arrow in here, and the the quote unquote boys line has Superman, Batman, Green Arrow. They've got like a Batman mask. Oh, they've got a figure of Plastic Man. Now that's pretty tempting. I do already have a Plastic Man figure, but I think this one has like bendy arms and stuff. And they have a Hawkman figure. They have like a Green Arrow mask, a Batman mask, and there's probably like something else that's another accessory. I don't remember what it was, but we can look at happymeal.com and see all the toys and accessories. So yeah, pretty cool right now. If they are doing them in order, this is number 1 that I got today, so rush out and start getting them. Some people just, if you're like me and you would love to have just like everything of Batgirl, or Supergirl or Wonder Woman or just anything DC. Well, these are pretty cool little figures. You might figure you don't need them if you're getting the 6-inch ones. I kind of was feeling that way, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna make Katana or not. I still might get that Plastic Man. I mean, I grew up watching that 80s cartoon of Plastic Man, and it's funny. It's a funny character. It's like an animated Jim Carrey. Not that they don't have animated Jim Carreys, but I mean, you got Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber and The Mask. Yeah, they did a lot of animated Jim Carrey, but Plastic Man was, they really should have done that when Jim Carrey was like a little younger and everything. I don't know if he's kind of getting on now. But yeah, so that's what's at McDonald's right now. Other toys that I got recently, I got 2 other toys. One I don't have on hand, but I got a $10 certificate from Toys R Us, and it was really hard deciding what to get with that. But they had the it was a reward certificate. If you haven't joined, if you shop at Toys R Us fairly frequently, you might want to join the rewards program. After a while, you'll get like a $10 certificate on your email. So I used that to get the swimming robo figure of Marlin from Finding Dory, because I already had the Dory figure, and the Dory figure I have is the one that comes in the coffee pot, and you put about that much water in the coffee pot, and you put Dory in, and she like swims around. Now the batteries don't last super long. They actually each come with an extra set of batteries, and that's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. But yeah, they don't last too long if you leave them in the water all the time, which I pretty much do. In the kitchen right now, I have that coffee pot, which is a convincing looking coffee pot, and it's got water in it, and it's got Dory and Marlin in there. I haven't got Nemo. I have a little statue in that glass case of Nemo, so I don't really need the Nemo swimming around. It makes more sense to me to have Dory and Marlin together. But I might get Nemo at some point. They're on clearance right now, and that's one of the things that convinced me to get it. That and a few other toys that I had my eye out for were not there, so I wanted to use my certificate. So I got that swimming Marlin. I'd been wanting him for a while, and they're on clearance right now for like $10, which I think I've seen them at like Walmart for a little less than that. I mean, I don't know what the regular price is at like Walmart and Target, but I remember being surprised because it was cheaper. Everything was cheaper than Toys R Us, which usually it's just like barely cheaper, but I think those were fairly cheaper. But so that maybe it's technically like average price right now, but it's technically on clearance. So anyway, I used it. I used my certificate on that, and I have a video posted of it on my Instagram if you want to see these little swimming fish. People have reviewed them already. They're these came out with the movie Finding Dory, so you can find YouTube reviews of these. And lastly, these aren't really new toys that I got, but I just unboxed them, and they're Doctor Who toys. And this is Clara Oswald, one of the, I don't know if she's still the companion on Doctor Who. I haven't been watching, but I've only seen a few of her episodes actually. My sister used to watch Doctor Who pretty religiously when it was the 10th Doctor, and she still calls herself a Doctor Who fan, but she doesn't watch it like super closely. And I've always just casually watched it over her shoulder. It's a good show, but I can't binge watch it like she can. I don't binge watch a lot of shows. There's some shows I would binge watch if I had the time. Sometimes I will binge watch Bates Motel, but and then other shows that I'm really into, I'm usually watching them as they come out, or I just haven't had a chance. I don't know, this is like a souffle or something. I don't remember that episode. I did see that episode, but yeah, this is Clara, and this is the reason that I bought this 2-pack set. And because this actress is, wow, gorgeous. And this is the Doctor Who that she comes with, which I think is from a different episode. I think he's from the Christmas special or something. Well, I think he's from the one with the snowmen, and I think it's like her first episode, but she should be like in Victorian clothing or something. So they're like from 2 different episodes, which is kind of weird. They were in a 2-pack together, and it was a big 2-pack, but it was all cardboard and plastic, sadly. And one figure was in the front, and then in the back you turned it around and there was this figure. And this was a high price set. I got it for $2. I mentioned a while back, and I don't remember if I ever showed the set, but I got it at Barnes & Noble on clearance for $2. So that was a pretty good deal. And I mean, I had been wanting a figure of her, and I'd never even seen one, except for these like tiny little ones that didn't really do much for me. And even these are pretty small for, I think they're supposed to be 6-inch figures, but they're on the small side, sort of like the A New Hope Luke Skywalker that came out recently is a little bit on the small side. But yeah, I was thrilled to get this figure for that price, and they only had like one set left, and I think it was only still around at that price because the red dot discount sticker had been removed, so nobody knew it was on clearance, even though it was in the clearance bin there. But yeah, so that's the new toys I've gotten lately. Now I still don't expect to get any more until I have a new job, but what else? Let's see. I talked about the toys. I talked about okay, let me talk about the movies that I saw. I saw 2 movies, one on Netflix and one on Hulu, and they have similar themes. Before I say what they are, let me say the titles, because I'm going to get into spoilers. One is called Creep, and it's from 2014. And the other is called Megan is Missing, and that one I think is from 2011. Now, I was totally unaware of these movies. These movies just, I don't know if they went to theaters. I don't know if they were direct to video or direct to Netflix or what they were. I just found them on Hulu and Netflix. I have not watched any reviews for them, but apparently other people were aware of them because there's a lot of reviews on Netflix for Creep. I haven't watched them, but I just looked it up really quick right now, and there's like a bunch of reviews for Creep, and I haven't checked on if there are reviews for Megan is Missing. I did really quickly look at their Wikipedias. Megan is Missing was not really well received, I guess, and Creep apparently got a pretty good critical reception. But I'm going to give you my opinion on them now, and I'm not going to talk too long. It's going to be pretty quick, but spoiler alert, because I'm not going to say too much, but right away it's, going to give stuff away. Okay, so basically they're both, oh, by the way, if you want to skip over the spoilers, I am going to unbox my Amazon Halloween costume related package after this, and also add that birthday candle blowing out clip. But let me get to these movies first. Skip ahead if you don't want to get the spoilers. Okay, so Megan is Missing, I saw a while back. Creep, I just watched, and it's the second time I've watched Creep. Megan is Missing, I found it too disturbing. I don't think I can watch that one again. I mean, I could, but I don't think I want to. Even though it's the one that was panned somewhat. I thought it was the more disturbing of the two films. And basically, these two films have a lot in common because they're both about meeting strangers who turn out to be, psycho killer people. And Megan is Missing involves meeting, a teenage girl meeting a teenage boy on the internet. Turns out to not be a teenage boy. Turns out to be a killer, a serial killer. And the other one, Creep, is where a guy, say 20-something guy, maybe late 20s, I would guess, goes out to meet somebody that I don't recall if it's mentioned. Maybe if he found him on Craigslist or something. But he gets a gig to go do some filming for somebody who wants to do a little video diary, and he wants somebody to follow him around for a day and film him. More than a day, probably. So that one is the one I just watched, and it's two grown men. One of them, is going to the other one's house, which is kind of, on the outskirts, in the woods, kind of a house. I mean, you can hear and see that there's like civilization is not too far off, but just barely too far, just too far enough. So he's out in the woods. He goes out to this cabin to I think they call it a cabin, although it just looks like a ritzy house to me. But he goes there to film this guy who claims to be dying of cancer, and he wants to make a video because he's got an unborn son coming, and he wants to have a video to show him, like in that Michael Keaton movie he mentions. So this young guy, finds the gig somehow, maybe on Craigslist, I don't know, and he goes out to get this job. He's already, talked to him on the phone and everything. And when he goes there, this hit home with me because when I first came to Austin, I was doing art gigs for people via Craigslist, where as much as I wanted to avoid the type of gigs where I had to meet the person, because I prefer to do that kind of thing online, I did, and shamefully I still have a couple of gigs from way back that I haven't even finished because I've got into an art slump again, and I'm trying to bring myself out of that. But I get into these depressions where I don't do my art anymore. But I'm trying to get back out of that. But I'm still going to get those artworks to some people who have been waiting for quite a while. But when I first moved here and I was taking anything I could get, I had to a couple of times meet up with some people who wanted some art and just insisted on doing it in person. And, sometimes I even had to go to their home, and that's a scary thing. Just recently I was trying to sell something on Facebook where it's pretty much done by PayPal and mail order, and somebody wanted to do a pickup in person for no reason, I guess, and except that he was nearby. And I said, well, okay, but I want to meet in a parking lot of, grocery store or parking lot or something. I don't want to do it at my home. And I didn't hear from that person again. What's up with that? But anyway, so it's a scary thing. It is scary when because people are strange. And I remember when I was a kid, just going over to a friend's house was always like, I didn't do it too much, and I rarely had kids over to my house because other people are always weird because they're different, and everybody lives differently, and everybody has different families, and sometimes it's a very uncomfortable weird. Usually it's an uncomfortable weird, and I didn't like to bring friends over because I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable weird. Even my best friend didn't come over to my house too much, and I didn't go over to his house too much unless, you know, other people weren't home, you know, even just to, you know, hang out and watch movies. Usually only did it when nobody else was home or just like one other person was home or something. And I mean, I have had experiences when I was a kid when I went over to somebody's house and man, they were just weird. I could tell stories. But yeah, going over to a stranger's place, especially when you've never met the person before, like I did with some art gigs, it's pretty nerve-wracking. You don't know if you go around the corner, you know, to use the restroom, you know, somebody's gonna hit you on the back of the head and you'll wake up locked in a basement somewhere, or not wake up or whatever. It's scary, and you know, I'm not good at meeting people. I've mentioned before, I said it wrong the first time I mentioned it, which was I'm an introverted extrovert, which means I am an outgoing person, but not initially. I'm very shy initially. And depending on how comfortable the other person makes me, depends on how long I can come out of my shell, and it might take a long time because they might never, you know, make me comfortable, or you know, or it might be very quickly. But yeah. So where was I going with that? So even meeting girls. I've only met a couple of girls in my life, as far as, you know, with any intent to possibly date or anything, and the only way I could do it was online. And one time I even flew to New York City to meet somebody I had been talking with for a year. And that was one of the more traumatic experiences of my life, because just getting off the plane, she actually came to pick me up, and just the look she gave me was like, get back on the plane, I'm not interested. After we had been talking for like a year, and exchanged pictures and everything. But yeah, you know, but it's nerve-wracking. And you know, when I came to Austin also, I got together with somebody that I met on an online dating site, and I'm not going to talk too much about that, but you know, you don't ever know what's going to happen when you go to somebody's house. It's scary, and of course and it's even scary for a guy going to meet a girl. You don't know if when you're talking to somebody online, you don't know if you're talking to a girl or a boy or somebody of this age or that age, or you don't know what's true and what's not. And so this movie, Creep, really hit home for me with that, because basically, I really stopped talking about the movie for a long time, sorry, but basically you're getting the point of view of the guy who is coming over to do this videotaping gig, and first he's like talking about how he he needs the money, so he's going to go over there and give it a shot, and he's explaining, so you know that he's a straightforward guy. He's not the one to be suspicious about, because it can go both ways. You know, the guy coming over might be dangerous. And I was saying, you know, even meeting a girl can be dangerous. A girl can be a psycho. It happens. Or a girl can be working with somebody else. And then there's all this human trafficking stuff. Now, I'm not worried about human trafficking. I'm more worried about just getting murdered and eaten or something. But, but I mean, you know, that human trafficking is a scary thing, you know. Yeah. So this hit some home for me, even though I'm going to talk about Megan is Missing later, but that one I found more, it was more disturbing to me, I guess, even though it was less of a position I could see myself in. But in this one, in Creep, I could see myself in that position. And and it, I could get into the movie really well. I won't say the movie was, it's nowhere as disturbing and scary, even though the climax is disturbing. It's nowhere near as bad as Megan is Missing. That one is really, maybe I should have talked about that first. This one is just it's a good creepy movie. It's well titled. It's a creepy movie. Not in the creepy sense, like, I don't know, creepy, maybe creepy is not the right word. The guy is creepy. The guy who is, and it's not creepy like, I guess he fits the modern idea of creepy, or creeps, like, or creeper. I kind of hate it when like when I first moved to Austin and I would hear girls call guys creepers a lot and just talking about, oh, so and so's a creeper. And I kind of really didn't like that because they used the term so loosely. I'm sure I was considered a creeper by a lot of girls because I'm so shy, and that, you'll get called creeper a lot just because of that. That's, most guys you consider creepers, girls, most of them are just shy, and there's a million reasons to be shy. And it's not always a confidence thing. Sometimes it's just, the guy's been through some shit, stuff. I mean, you become shy for a lot of reasons, or sometimes it's just your personality type. Like, that's how I see it. I've been through some stuff too, but I was already shy, and it's just my personality. It's that introverted extrovert thing that, you can't really change. It's just the way you are. But, yeah, so this guy is he's it's fair to call him a creep, because he's a guy who tries to act really friendly and tries to pull you in with this idea that he's your buddy and all that, and then he walks a bit ahead of you and then jumps out behind a tree and scares you, and he does that throughout this movie to this other guy. This guy's like starting to get a little comfortable. Okay, this guy's he's dying and he wants to make a video for his kid, although right away he starts doing weird stuff. It's like, okay, we're gonna start filming now, and he runs upstairs and gets naked. And because he's gonna do this thing where he explains how when he was a kid he used to take baths with his father, which I'm sure a lot of people did when they were little babies, but even that seems weird. But but yeah, I guess a lot of people do that. I don't know. And yeah, he does this thing throughout, but it's kind of obvious from the beginning that he's weird. But I guess you don't really know for sure if he's just weird and that's it, or if he's, gonna go psycho on you. And that's, of course, from the beginning, and that's what I mean by I could really get into this. From the beginning, I could really relate to it. Because from the beginning, the guy is like just pretty much just waiting for like that sign that this guy is just, he needs to get away. So at first you think the guy who's there with the camera is pretty sharp, because he's being wary, and he's noticing all the little signs that things are not right. But I guess if the movie has one thing that's kind of a flaw, I'm sure it has a lot, but the glaring one for me, and I enjoyed this movie a lot. I watched it twice because I wanted to show it to my mom. But the glaring thing is I guess with a lot of these movies, you see the victim character do kind of some dumb things sometimes. And in this case, it was kind of trying to show that this character was sort of innocent, and he wanted to give, I guess he wanted to see the good in people and not just write them off as being crazy. And so I guess, it works. He was kind of like, oh, this guy's just really lonely and sad and everything. He was buying this guy's story, even though this guy had already done some really creepy stuff. And he did try to call the cops once, and I guess they just didn't think much of it because nothing too serious had happened. Although I always think, well, you're not really explaining yourself well. When I see a movie and they call the cops and the cops won't pay attention, it's like, yeah, you didn't tell them about this and this and this and this. That's the thing a lot of times with the victims in these movies. It's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why are you doing that? And this movie did have those moments where you were like, why are you doing that? Why are you going there? Why don't you just run, you know? So there's that little issue with the movie, but as far as, you know, the whole movie, and Megan is missing is a little different, because Megan is missing the victims. Okay, they're doing really stupid stuff, but they're, you know, they're like 14-year-old girls. I mean, they're not, you know, adults and stuff. So, you know, it's more understandable, although from what I've, you know, the quick reading of Wikipedia, it seems like that was the one that was panned. I don't know, but I think Megan is missing is much more disturbing. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but I did like Creep a lot. I liked Creep because it's in a disturbing way. Well, like a horror movie, it's fun to watch for a while, and then it gets to the point to where it's like, oh, this is messed up. You know what's happening here. At no point is Creep like a really scary movie. Like, I mean, as you watch it, you're not getting chills too much. And like I said, I can relate to the experience. When you're watching it, you feel for the character. You're like, oh boy, you know, this is a bad situation you're in. You need to get out. So it's thrilling. It's a thrilling movie. I mean, it's not like you're afraid that, you know, somebody's gonna come up on you while you're watching it. Like if you're watching something really, like some kind of demon movie, then you're like, you know, looking behind you at every noise and stuff. But if you have a stalker, you might find this pretty creepy. I mean, you know, like I said, I can relate to parts of this. But it's a good movie. It's a good, entertaining movie. If you like this kind of thing, I think you'll like it. The ending, I guess I won't tell you the ending. Trying to think if there was anything. It's a found footage movie. Did I mention that? Obviously, the guy's filming. I will say one thing about horror, especially on Netflix and Hulu and stuff. Way too much found footage movies. I know they're cheap and easy to make, but gosh, it seems like it's really hard to find a horror film on like Netflix that's not found footage that looks interesting. I mean, there's some that look crappy, but the ones that look at, or there's some that, you know, I've already seen or whatever, but these ones that kind of sound interesting, I always click on them and they're found footage. And like, that's okay. Like with this movie, it was really good. But I mean, I can get tired of watching found footage. And a lot of times found footage just isn't shot well, or it's just, there's not going to be any payoff. A lot of times that's the thing about found footage movies. There's no payoff. It's like Blair Witch Project all over again. And I enjoy Blair Witch Project to a certain degree, but I know a lot of people hate the sequel, but I'll watch the sequel and enjoy that more because it's stuff happens in it besides being lost in the woods. I saw Blair Witch at the movies, the original. That was interesting. I think if you go into Blair Witch back in the day when it came out and people like went into it not being sure if it was real or not, that makes it pretty interesting. On the Blair Witch DVD and hopefully on the Blu-ray too, there's a documentary. It's a fake documentary about the Blair Witch that is creepier, way creepier than the actual movie. If you have the DVD of Blair Witch, that documentary is so much creepier than the actual movie. But yeah, I get a little tired of found footage. Both of these movies I'm talking about tonight, if I didn't mention it before, they're both found footage horror movies. And but you know, if the movie's good, then it's fine. But just a lot of times they're not good. But these two movies are very good, I think. So yeah, Creep, I do recommend going to Netflix and watching Creep if you want to watch something scary and you just can't pick anything, because I'll just go through the movies on Netflix and there's stuff I want to see, but scary movies are the ones that I'm always in the mood for. I mean, like, my favorite movies are Disney movies, but like, I'm almost always up for a horror film, you know. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for a Disney movie, even though that's rare. Maybe if I was with more people who were into it. It's like I don't have any real life friends who are super into Disney. I mean, my mom and sister will watch Disney movies. I mean, my sister's a bigger fan of the parks than the movies. Now she likes a lot of the old classic movies like I do, but like the new stuff, it's hard to get her to watch some of the new stuff. She prefers old movies in general, so it's harder to get her to watch new movies. And she's my roommate, and I don't really have any friends here in Austin. So outside of when I come home from work, nobody hangs out with me. It's just me and my sister. Because again, introverted, extrovert, and I don't make friends easy. I don't meet people. I don't drink. I don't like sports. I just like movies and cartoons and stuff like that. So, and a lot of people here like that stuff too, but they also, for fun, most of them go to live music and drinking and, dancing and stuff like that. And I can go to clubs and stuff. I just, if we're going to go to a club, don't talk to me because I can't hear a word you're saying because it's so loud. It's not because I have bad ears. I have great ears. That's the problem. My ears are good. And everything is so loud. I can hear like the slightest little sounds, and then it drowns out people talking. But so yeah, I don't like to go to clubs and bars for that reason. It's just too loud. I don't go to a lot of live music. I'll go to concerts and stuff. If I'm invited, I'll go. I'm not as much one to, because when I have money, I like to go to the movies or I like to go to a Disney park. But yeah, I mean, live music, I'm in Austin, so that's a big deal. I don't know, I don't do a lot of things to meet people, and the things I like cosplay, and it's really hard to get in with a cosplay crowd. They can be a little snooty sometimes, or, I mean, especially if you're, not just so or something. And just, I'm not saying there's some very friendly cosplay people. They're usually very friendly initially, but I'm trying to get in their circle of friends. That's hard. Also, none of them are single, and that sucks. But I'm really into cosplay. I don't do it much myself. I want to, but it's really, when you don't have any cosplay friends, it's really hard to be like the lone cosplayer. I do. So I usually just do it on Halloween, and in truth, I can't really afford to be cosplaying all year. I can't financially afford it. And I love collecting toys too much, but I do want to do it more often. But yeah, what did I start talking about? Meeting people. But yeah, I totally got off track, and I've forgotten where I was now. Creep, it's a good movie. I recommend seeing it. Oh yeah, I was saying I'm always in the mood for horror movies. That's what I was saying. Okay, Megan is Missing. Megan is Missing I found on Hulu. Like Netflix, they have a lot of horror movies on there. It can be hard to, you just don't know which ones are good, and they have a lot that aren't. But Megan is Missing, which I saw a couple months ago at least. I just sort of stumbled on it, and I didn't sit and watch it hardcore. I had it on TV, and I was washing the dishes and stuff. And I had like a big stack of dishes. So I had Megan is Missing on, and I had it really loud because I read the description and I was kind of curious, but it also sounded like it might not be good because basically this movie is two teenage girls talking to each other with a webcam, like I don't do that. So what is it, Skype, I guess, or something. So they're like Skyping each other, and they're just I don't have anyone to Skype, so I don't Skype. I don't have a web camera either. So they're just like talking to each other the whole time, and then after things stuff gets real, you start to get like news clips and things like that, and there are a few times where it's just I think there's a couple times where the girl's just okay, after the first girl's missing, the other one starts filming herself, I think, as she goes on this mission to find her friend or what. It's been a while since I watched it. But let me explain. And like I said, I don't want to watch it again. I found Megan is Missing to be a very disturbing movie. It's two 14-year-old girls. One of them is the like most popular girl, really pretty, really turns out really promiscuous, goes to wild parties, does drugs and everything. The other one is her best friend, but she's also like a good girl. Like she's the one who doesn't do anything that she's not supposed to do. She's like a daddy's little girl and all that. And she's still trying to stay friends with her popular girl, and they're kind of like they kind of feed off each other in terms of like the living vicariously through each other. But when the popular one tries to go to parties, well, the other one wants to hang out with her, and then she becomes a bit of a burden because it's like I don't think the popular girl really wants to expose the nice girl to this kind of lifestyle because it's pretty hardcore, and she's living this really hardcore lifestyle, and apparently a lot of kids are in this school or something, or this neighborhood, and it's pretty hardcore. I mean, it's like wild parties with drugs and sex, and I mean, we're talking about like junior high kids. I guess they could be freshmen in high school. I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched it. And this is a thing that when I see this in movies, well, it's a hard thing for me because I never partied like ever. The most stuff I did was like last year when I was trying to be close to somebody who didn't want to be close to me, but she would, she would hang out with me, and she was a hard partier, so, but, yeah, I was never a partier like that. I'm a loner, I guess, and I'm better one-on-one with people. I'm better with like one other person than I am with groups or friends or parties. I mean, I can like parties if they're my kind of parties, but I don't know. Have I ever had a party that's my kind of party? I guess I'm a one-on-one person. I can't. A couple of people, okay, if I'm really good friends with them too, or 3 people. I guess it can be. I can be in a group, but if you like the kind of things I like, it's kind of hard otherwise, like. And I can be hanging around with people who drink, and that's not a problem as long as they don't require me to drink, because I don't even like the taste of it. And, I mean, there's other aspects of partying. Some of it I'll dabble in, some of it I won't, but I have no problem being there, but you don't get invited very much when you're like that. But like in the movies, you see parties where people are like sitting there having a drink and talking and laughing and dancing, and a guy on the couch over there is getting a BJ right in front of everybody. And that's like, I'm sure there are parties like that, and I'm sure that happens all the time everywhere, and I'm not saying I wouldn't go to a party like that, but when I'm seeing like a bunch of 14-year-olds and this is their daily life, and it's just like, oh, we're gonna go over here and do this and that, and it's like hardcore stuff. I know that happens. I know there's a lot of people who live like that, but in movies they almost make it like that's the norm for most 14-year-olds. And it makes it hard. It's hard for me to buy that. I don't know. Is that true? Is that like average for like 14-year-olds to be like going to parties where people are just getting blowjobs and stuff like everywhere and stuff like that? That would weird me out. I mean, if I just went to a party and I saw that, I mean, I'm not saying I would like, okay, I gotta leave this party, this is horrible. No, I'm just saying I would be surprised. So, I mean, I guess if you're going to these 14-year-old parties and there's no adults there, but I don't know. I mean, and in this movie, I mean, it's not like everybody's doing that, because obviously you have but they act like there's 2 kinds of kids. There's the good girl or the good boy, the good kid that doesn't do anything, and then there's the other kids that get really wild, and like there's no medium, and I think most kids fall in the middle ground. And I was probably more on the good kid side. I know that. And that's partly just because I didn't have a lot of friends. And it's one of the things I regret. I wish I partied more when I was a kid. Not that I wanted to get drunk and stuff like that, because like I said, I don't like the taste of it. But I would have liked to have gone to the parties and just hung out and stuff. And, you know, I would have done a few things. You know, I mean, it's something I wish I had done a little of. But 14 seems like a little young to make that out like it's... I could be totally wrong. Maybe that's the norm. I'm not saying that this movie made that to be the norm, because... But it did seem to make it out like there's these kids, and then there's a few really, really goody two-shoe kids, and that was it. I don't know. I guess it's just weird when it's like the main girl in the movie. Well, there's two main girls, but like the one who's wild and going to the parties, she was like also supposed to be like the most popular girl in school and like getting good grades somehow. I think I don't remember, but you know, it's such a movie stereotype. It's like the perfect girl, and then she, you know, she's really this Laura Palmer character where she's like doing crazy stuff, you know, at these secret parties with all these other kids and adults and stuff, you know, and then she had these horrific stories after a while, because you get more into these two girls talking to each other and getting more intimate about their lives, or at least the more wild one, because she's the only one who's really doing stuff. And I mean, messed up like times that she was like molested and raped and stuff when she was a little kid and everything, and it's really disturbing. And of course, you know, that stuff happens. I mean, it's not like, I'm not saying that's, you know, not real. You know, I mean, it was just, it's like this kid just had like the worst life, and then it just gets worse from here, because she meets this guy online, and she thinks he's like just a few years older than her, I guess, and it just turns out really bad. She ends up missing. She goes to meet this guy and she's missing. This is the wild girl, the partier, and she's just looking for somebody who's really gonna love her. She basically says that. She says at one point, "I'll do anything for you if you say you love me," you know. I mean, she's just, I think she's just, I don't know who she's talking to when she says that, but she's not talking to the guy, I don't think. But she might just be doing like a video diary or something. I don't remember. It's, like I say, it's been a while since I watched this. But then she goes missing, and her best friend, of course, is like, she knew a little bit about this guy that she was trying to go meet, and you know, there's all the, like, they show the news, you know, footage where they're like, you know, Megan is missing. The wild party girl was named Megan, and so the other girl is like really worried about her, and she's like trying to do her own private like research into like what happened to her friend, and there's like this one creepy scene where she goes out to this little play area that she had in the woods, and she goes out there and she's like, or I don't know where it was, but she's out there, you know, outside wherever, and you can see in the background somebody's watching her, you know. So this guy's already got his eye on her, and then, oh God, in the news footage they show this picture that apparently showed up on the internet that they believed was the missing girl, and it is just the most horrific picture of this girl locked in this box type thing with like these like things like pulling at her mouth and her eyes, you know, and it's just like a horrific picture, and she's bloody, and one of the most disturbing, you know, fake pictures that I've ever seen, you know, and that's just one of two extremely disturbing images in this movie. And like, just for seeing these images, I didn't even want to see this movie again. It was just too upsetting. I mean, it's so sad. I mean, this girl had a horrible life as it is, you know. And you want to see a girl like this have some kind of like happy ending. You don't want to see, this is so sad. It was a horrific movie. in my opinion. I guess a lot of the bad reviews are because so much of it is just watching these girls Skype each other, and they're just, just talking about stuff. And then, like I said, talking about this extreme stuff that, and I'm not saying at all that this stuff doesn't happen. It's just like, I feel like movies make it out like every 14-year-old is, having like hardcore sex and stuff. And that's, I know that when I went to school, and times are different now, I know, but when I was in school, I'm pretty sure at least most of the guys hadn't done much dating, if any, by the time they got out of high school. That might have been the high school I went to. And I'm not saying they were goody two-shoes, but I think most of the guys I went to high school with were not outgoing enough to have gotten very far anyway by the time they graduated high school. I could be wrong, I didn't mix too much. But I was friends with everybody at school. It was just at school, I had like one best friend that was the only person I hung out with outside of school. And he was more outgoing than I was. I'm sure he hung out with some other people too, but not me. I didn't really. But I mixed a lot with kids at school, because I joked around a lot. I was a bit of a class clown at school, and I went through phases, because I went through phases when I would get darker and just be like more, introverted. But then I would get into my more outgoing phase. I just kind of went in and out with that at school, in my life, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like there was a lot less, even less dating going on when I was at school than is implied in movies and television. Now, I know that's different now, because you turn on the TV and see stuff on the Disney Channel. I mean, that would be very inappropriate, back when I was a kid or something, for children's television. And then I was just like regular. This is the life of, 12-year-olds now. I don't know. But it comes off as hard to believe to some degree. But I know there are the hard partying kids. I mean, we had a girl who was pregnant in junior high. I remember that. And she was, she hung out with the skaters. She was a skater girl, and she was cute. And I remember selling stuff door to door, which they stupidly used to have us do back in the 80s. And she answered the door, and she was, pregnant. And I was like, oh, that's why you haven't been to school, She was very pregnant and very 14, And so, I mean, I know that stuff, happens. I don't think it's as rampant as movies lead you to believe. But I can't fault this movie for that. I mean, that's just, maybe they were just showing one small section of the community, this small group of hard partying kids. But anyway, Megan disappears, and her friend, whose name is Amy, she's trying to find her, and eventually Amy disappears too. I'm trying to remember how we see this. I just remember that she ends up like in some guy's, I'm gonna say some guy's like dank cellar, where he's got like cells, and like I don't know what kind of place this is. It's like all like, it's obviously like underground, to some degree. So I'm gonna say it's like this guy has like a dungeon under his house or somewhere. And yeah, maybe it's not under his house, but it, you get the feeling always that these are like some dungeon under somebody's house. And like he's got this girl in this like cell with like, trying to feed her in a doggy dish, and she's chained to the wall. And horrific rape scene where he rapes this girl, the virgin girl, the little sweet innocent girl. And it's just, and I don't remember if that was before or after she sees her friend's dead body in like a barrel or a canister thing. And that's the second, like, aside from the horrific rape scene, That's the other really disturbing, like, image that sticks in your mind. Oh God, it's just like her body, like her dead body, because you were seeing her before, beautiful girl, sad because of she had this horrible, history, and was living really, her partying was like obviously because she was not feeling loved and stuff, and then you see like her from this like beautiful living girl to this like Halloween looking corpse, just with his gaping mouth and like all like, oh God. That I've seen some disturbing movies. I have a friend who likes to send me some disturbing movies, but just something about this movie and those two shots of this girl that just they break your heart. They were heartbreaking and really horrific. And I mean, some people might think a Serbian film is more disturbing. To me, it's hokey and fake, I'm I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen in real life, but when I watch that movie, I know it's hokey and fake and cheesy, and not that I watched that movie much, but I saw a little bit of it once, or Human Centipede 2, which I didn't really want to see again after seeing that. I was kind of messed up too. I saw one called, my friend sent me one called Martyrs. I didn't care for it because it really just seemed to be misogyny. The whole point of the movie, that's all it seemed to be. I know that at the end there was like they stuck in this like conspiracy theory twist at the end of that movie, and you're supposed to be like, oh well, there was more to this than just torturing women. But no, to me, that movie to me just seemed like the whole point was like, let's see how gory and horrific we can torture, women, even assuming it was fake. It was fake. I mean, it was an actress and everything, but I mean, I just didn't care for that movie. And maybe other people got other things out of that movie. I liked little twists, like little conspiracies in movies. I mean, I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 or whatever it is, Next Generation, which is the one with Matthew McConaughey, and at the end it's like this stupid, bizarre twist where there's like some kind of government conspiracy or some kind of rich guy conspiracy. But then that movie was cheesy throughout, If a movie just seems to be like brutal and horrific throughout, sticking a conspiracy at the end isn't going to save it for me. That Martyrs was, I don't like that movie at all. I wouldn't give it any redeeming quality points. Megan is Missing. I can give it points for, I think it's telling a very realistic story. They should probably make teenagers watch this movie, or even like, I mean, it's disturbing as heck, but maybe they need to see like some scarring stuff as far as this is concerned. Like, I mean, like young, like junior high students should have to watch this. I don't know. Maybe right before you go to junior high. It's like, this is the real world. Watch this movie so you'll be prepared before you go to junior high. and they'll be messed up, man. It'll mess them up. This movie messed me up for a while after watching it, just because those images just stuck in my head, and it's, God. I'm talking about Megan is Missing right now. Megan is Missing. If you want to see something disturbing, that is just, it's like just a few scenes. I mean, most of it is just sad, but it's building up to this, like, you know where it's going, but I mean, you don't know exactly what's going to happen to Amy until you get to it. But it's a tragic movie. I've heard some people say it's not really like a scary movie, but it's sad. Well, I think it's a scary movie, because just like that this stuff goes on is scary to me and sad. I mean, not scary for me, scary for other people that, I don't like that this is happening to other people, I mean, it's like when you watch videos about stuff on the deep web or the dark web, I forget which, where like there's, you know, it's like, God, you know that it's, you know, somewhere that's happening. I mean, even if it sounds fake, I mean, somebody's doing that somewhere to somebody, and that is sad and messed up. But I'm you know, I'm gonna say this is a good movie to watch if you I mean, you know, it's educational, you know, that's what I'm trying to say, I guess. Both of these, Creep and Megan is Missing, they're disturbing and sad. I mean, Megan is Missing is the really disturbing one. The other one is, I mean, they're both educational as far as like dealing with people. Maybe I'm the last person who should be watching this stuff because I'm introverted, extrovert. But yeah, if you have issues trusting people like I do, this isn't gonna help. But if you are too trusting, you should watch these movies. If your kid is too trusting, they need to watch these movies. If your best friend is too trusting, anybody you know who's too trusting, or you know, there are people I wish I could convince them to watch these movies. I don't think I can, but and Megan is Missing is the more impactful one, I think. But it depends who you are, because if you're a guy, Creep is a lesson for you, you know. And if you're, you know, a lot of guys are just gonna blow it off though, like, it's not gonna happen to me. But you know, and if you're a kid or if you're a girl, or you know, Megan is Missing, you should watch it. They're not. Creep is kind of fun, and you know, Creep is it's a fun horror movie. Megan is Missing is not fun. It's sad. It's sad and it's horrific, I think, and very disturbing stuff. Okay, so that's my opinions on those films. I don't think I gave away too much, but some things I obviously gave away. Okay, we're gonna talk about one last thing, and again, I'm gonna try to remember. I'm gonna remember to add that little video at the end of this one. So if you already saw the birthday video, you don't have to go back to see the candle blowing out thing, which I think came out pretty cool. Although you have to full screen it to really get a look at it. But I got this box from Amazon today. I have to drop everything here. This is, I mentioned Halloween Horror Nights and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party that I'm going to very soon. Sadly, I'll probably be broke. But like I said, I'm invited to these things by my mom and sister, and I'm not going to say no. But I really want that Hocus Pocus ornament, and I really want that R2 unit that's Halloween themed. And I would like to get the Figment ornament that is for the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, but that's really pushing it. There's no way I'm going to have money for all those things. I could probably eBay some later, just buy them off eBay, but that Hocus Pocus ornament, man, I want to bring that back. I have like 2 days to like sell something online. I don't think I'm going to get it. I don't think I'm going to have enough money otherwise either. But, oh well, you know, we'll have to eBay it someday somehow if we don't find a way to get it. But anyway, I am trying to wear my old Pete costume that I made last year to Mickey's Not So Scary because I didn't have the funds or the figure for the 2 costumes I originally was going to do. I'm hoping to do them later, but you know, with the job situation and everything, I'm making a lot less money, and I'd like to get in better shape for those other 2 costumes anyway. So we're going to reuse our Pete costume. Pete from the old Mickey Mouse cartoons. Now he's on that CG animated movie or show, Mickey's Playhouse. I don't know. I watch Mickey Mouse cartoons, but I don't watch the Playhouse Disney ones, which is, and I kind of want to check some of them out. I do want to see Sophia the First because the classic princesses and other characters have been appearing on that show, and they have that new Lion King show where he has a son, Simba's son. I want to see that, you know. But so I just haven't taken the time to watch those preschooler shows, but I need to. Even Jake and the Neverland Pirates, I wouldn't mind seeing some of that. But I don't want to sit through their little games of like, let's see what shape this is. I just want to see some kind of story, you know. I love the Tinkerbell films, but those are more like for preteens and stuff. And I love Tinkerbell. God, those fairies are hot. If you haven't watched the Tinkerbell movies, those fairies are hot. I think they use the same body for all of them except for the plus size ones, and they just change the heads. But it's like really nice one. Tinkerbell. I have a tree topper for the Christmas tree that I'm going to use this year because we're doing a Disney Christmas tree this year, and it's Tinkerbell from the CGI film series. You know, the white dress that she's born in. She's born fully grown. She's not a baby. And she's got like her blonde hair is like it's actually not in a bun. It's just down. So it's Disney's Tinkerbell with her hair down in this like saucy white dress. It's nice. And it's a really nice tree topper. I'll show you guys at some point when we get the Christmas tree going. But Halloween. So I needed gloves that were better for my Pete costume. Again, it's like old school Pete from the old Mickey Mouse cartoons. He was the villain. He's a very large cat, and originally he had a peg leg, but eventually they used that less often. And anyway, I had a great costume I made last year, and there are pictures of it online, but it goes through phases because I had to perfect it, and I had to perfect the makeup. And I think one of the first pictures you'll see if you Google Disney Pete cosplay or something is of me in this like really early version that doesn't look very good, and it's a black and white picture. I'm standing in front of like an Oswald poster, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. He was a villain in some of those cartoons also. And I made a dog catcher outfit, and it's Pete as a dog catcher. I'm not going to be able to take my net in there. I had a net, and I put my stuffed Pluto in that net. I can't take that net into Disney World, walk around with a net, but I'm still going to be dressed as the dog catcher because it would be more expense to make a different Pete costume. But I needed new gloves because I had big cartoony gloves that I bought at the Halloween store, and they're too cumbersome, and you kind of need your hands at Disney World, and also especially because we're going to be trick-or-treating, because that's one of the things you get to do at the Halloween party. It's awesome. If you haven't gotten to trick-or-treat since you were a kid, go to Mickey's Not So Scary. You can trick-or-treat all over the park. You don't even need a costume. In fact, they'd probably prefer you don't wear a costume, but you're allowed to wear costumes. I didn't wear one last year at the party. I wore one on Halloween. That's where I wore my Pete costume, downtown Austin. But I want to wear one to the party this year. My sister's going as a Mouseketeer from the 50s. And so I'm just going to break out my Pete costume. I got new gloves. The gloves I bought are in here, and I hope they're good. I saw a picture on Amazon. Somebody had bought them, and they posted a picture. And the bad thing is they're 5-finger gloves, not 3-finger like a cartoon character like Pete. But I kind of need that. I need gloves that are as close to just my hands as possible. The cartoony gloves I had were big and puffy. They're just too big. Too big for Disney. And also they got like a stain on them from my makeup, because I wear this black makeup where I make the points here and here, and I make my nose black. So these should be, hopefully they're better gloves, but they're Mario gloves. They don't have lines on them. They have like a couple of circles on them. I'm going to have to draw the lines on them. I think the circles, hopefully I can ignore those. But I'm going to have to draw the lines, the 3 lines that all the gloves have on them. And I could have just bought real gloves, but I don't think they looked cartoony enough, white dress gloves. So these, I think, are going to be in between regular gloves and the ones, the big fake-o cartoony ones from the Halloween store. And I also got some black furry leggings that I'm going to cover my arms with, because last year I had some brown ones and I had to use black spray-on hair dye to make them black. I don't think these are going to be as good, but I didn't want to use that black spray-on hair dye at the hotel. Actually, I don't even think I could have packed that stuff. I don't know if that would have been allowed on the airport, you know, on the plane. And and that's the black gets on everything. So I wanted some that were already black, so I had to order them, but I had to use Prime because I needed them here fast. I'm gonna have to do some working with them, some sewing. I'm just really hoping they don't look horrible, because I don't think they were super good quality. You kind of have to see that kind of stuff in person. And when you go to the Halloween store, I can never find the black ones. Maybe I could have just found them at like Target, like women's clothing. I don't know. Well, hopefully they're good. We're about to open this box, see what we got. Here we go. And white gloves. These look way better. Again, I'm sad that they're not 3-finger gloves. Nintendo, they're definitely Mario gloves. I think they're going to be longer than I want. I could always roll them up if I have to, make them a little bit shorter. But it's not going to hurt if they're long. Hang on. Don't tell my mom I opened them like that. Actually didn't. Oh yeah, there it is. Another bag. Okay, Nintendo. See, generally for like cartoon character costumes, the gloves are just way poofy and big and ridiculous. I need to be able to hold my my trick-or-treat bag. I need to be able to grab onto things. So if I feel like I'm tripping for some reason, I don't know. I mean, I need to be able to use my hands. At a theme park, anything can happen. So here we go. I'm gonna try them on for you. Yep, pretty good. And I'll draw 3 lines here. I wish those circles weren't there, but that's fine. You could always swap hands. Nah, it's sewn like a real glove. I don't think that's gonna be as good. Just talking about doing it like that, drawing the lines here, but nah, it's made too well. This is definitely the left-hand glove. So yeah, I think that's fine, and it's a lot better than the big poofy hands I had. And I'm sure they're gonna get dirty. And for some reason, they make them out of some kind of material where they don't wash well. But maybe these will be better than the other ones. I don't think I actually put them in the washing machine. I might have. I couldn't get that makeup spot out of them. Oh yeah, these are good. I don't have to shorten them. Yeah. There's my new Pete gloves. I'll just draw 3 lines here. 3 lines here, because the Disney characters always have 3 lines on their gloves. So there you go, Mario gloves. I recommend these for cartoon characters. If you wanted to, you could splice these 2 fingers together. But I'm going to be trick-or-treating and stuff. I want to really be able to use my fingers and hands. Pretty cool. I'm happy with this. Let's see the leggings. Why did you order this, Nathan? They're going on my arms, not on my legs. Easy open snap right there. There's a little snap there. These are Flirty and Fluffy. Fluffies by Ruby's Costumes. I'm just worried they're going to be real cheap, but we'll see. The hair quality is better. I was kind of worried. I've seen some really cheap ones. This is better than I thought they were going to be. I'm glad. This is more like what I had. I'm not saying it's exactly as good as... pretty good. It's got this kind of material inside. And what I'll do... Now, do they fit? That's the question, because I put the stretchy part up here. I need to get them up higher than that. I hope I can get them up higher. My arms are way too thick. But there you go. See, and then I'm going to have to cut this off and sew it. So it'll be like that. Let's get a glove. Here we go. So essentially, it looks like this. But I'll you know, trim this. And that's basically how Pete looks, you know. So yeah, this will work out. It's gonna take some work. I'm gonna have to. It won't take long. Some sewing. I'm gonna have to pull these up higher. Maybe this year. This kind is a little tighter than the ones I had. I might have to use that part for my wrist. I don't know. But then the hair is going the wrong way. And so this part, I guess I can brush the hair in the opposite direction. I don't know, I'll have to figure that out. I'll just stretch it out more. Yeah, these are gonna work. Cool. So, Pete costume just needs a little sewing and it'll be ready to go. Okay. And I'll show you guys what that looks like when it's done or whatever. I was thinking about doing some Disney. Last year I tried to do this thing where actually it might have been earlier this year, where I was going to watch all the Disney stuff I could get my hands on, starting with the old silent cartoons, you know, pre-Mickey Mouse, pre-Oswald even, the Alice stuff. And I got as far as the earliest Mickey Mouse cartoons. And there's a lot of material just to get to that far. I mean, especially because the silent stuff is the least interesting stuff, because, I mean, there's some good ones in there, there's some gems in there, but otherwise, a lot of it is pretty similar to each other. But I was, you know, and I kind of fell off the wagon because I had a lot of other stuff going on too. I kind of want to go back to that, and I was thinking about shooting some videos where I talk about them as I go through all the Disney stuff I can get my hands on, which I don't know how much that is. I have a huge Disney DVD and Blu-ray collection, and I thought that as I do this, it would help me to fill in the gaps in my collection. I'll be like, okay, I'm coming up on, you know, this movie. I better finally buy it. I've been meaning to for so long. But like right now, you know, I got to find another job because I have no spending money. Because right now they cut my hours in half. I'm getting just enough for rent. So I need to, you know, get back to having a little excess money. So not really that it would be excess. I should be paying other bills with it. But, you know, once in a while you want to buy yourself a movie. Come on, you're working. You're a working man. You need like some toys and movies, right? That's all I use my money on. Toys and Blu-rays and going to the Alamo Draft House. And I'm missing so much right now because Wizard World is in town. Bruce Campbell is going to be live at the Draft House. Captain Kirk. I'm more of a Star Wars guy, but I can appreciate Trek. And William Shatner is going to be at the Draft House for a screening of Wrath of Khan. And I really would like to see that. I've never seen William Shatner in person. I've seen Bruce Campbell in person last Halloween at on 6th Street at the Jackalope, which is the one bar at 6th Street that I might go into sometimes just to have a Coke and hang out, which, you know, it's been a while since I've been on 6th Street outside of Halloween. But when I have the funds, I'll go see Terror Tuesdays at the Draft House, because there's one on 6th Street, and you know, I'll go see Terror Tuesdays there when I have the funds, and that's practically the only time I go to 6th Street. And sometimes before a movie, if I'm there early, I might go to the Jackalope, or you know, I might go there on Halloween. This Halloween, I mentioned this before. This Halloween, I think I'm going to be alone here, so it would be a good time to go downtown, but I don't know. I mean, I might just hang out here and watch Halloween specials and Hocus Pocus and maybe some scary stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I'm available if anyone wants to hang out on Halloween, either here or downtown or whatever. I like to go to 6th Street and just see the parade of costumes and be in it. But I was already Pete there last year, and I don't know. I wish I had something new for that. And there's still time for Halloween night, although Halloween night is on a Monday this year, does anyone know, if anyone's watching from Austin, what do you think? Is 6th Street going to be doing anything on Halloween night? Or is it going to be the Saturday before or the Friday before? I've heard people say, oh, Halloween's on a, Tuesday, it's on a Thursday, whatever. So they're going to be celebrating on the Saturday before. Not Thursday, they probably celebrate if it was on Thursday. That used to be college night. I don't know if it still is. But, I've heard them say, oh, this year Saturday is going to be the night. And people will still go out on Halloween when it's a Sunday. So I'm wondering how it is when Halloween is a Monday. Because I think last time that it was on a Sunday, that was still the big night. Everybody still went out, even though people were saying Saturday was going to be the big night, or Friday. I don't know, if anyone from Austin is watching, when do you think will be the big night on 6th Street this year? I might go. If I do, it'll just be to walk up and down the sidewalk. That's usually all I do. If you don't show up early enough, you can't even get into the Jackalope. Bruce Campbell might be there again. I don't know. Oh no, because I think Wizard World is September this year. I don't know. Last year Wizard World was on Halloween. I was gonna have a table there. It sucks, but I just was not prepared. I'm still not. I'm still hoping to get my Wizard World table. I've been at Wizard World working a table before. As an artist for a writer who had hired me to illustrate a comic. I didn't do a great job with that. That was like my first illustration gig. It was really bad. I got to start being better with my gigs, but I'm gonna do way more original stuff. I want to focus more on my own stuff, but I'm gonna need some gigs, I think, too. Okay, guys. I think I talked about everything. Halloween coming pretty fast. Gonna go check out Disney Florida. Halloween Horror Nights. Pretty excited. Really excited about the Exorcist house. That's the movie that really scares me, The Exorcist. So that's gonna be a freaky haunted house. Last year, my favorite one was American Werewolf in London, but that's like my favorite horror movie, and it was amazing. Freddy vs. Jason was a really good house too. There was a few. But I'm excited for Exorcist and probably some others I'm forgetting right now. And I'm really excited to dine with the Universal Monsters. It's like a special experience that we've got tickets for, and Mickey's Not So Scary. Hocus Pocus again, yay! I hope I find some excess money around here for that Hocus Pocus ornament I really want in that Halloween R2 unit, but we'll see. And I'm gonna enjoy Food and Wine Festival at least, because we've got some gift cards for that, or we're gonna get some. That's what I've been told, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, thanks. I'm gonna enjoy trying some foods and try to convince, my sister. She says we're gonna do it, so we're gonna try to film ourselves tasting foods at the Food and Wine Festival. It's not there's other people have already done that, but we're gonna do ours. Unless we're over there and we're like, it's too hot. It's gonna be really hot. That's what I hear. It's hot right now anyway. Okay, I'm gonna add that birthday 3-second clip to the end of this, guys, in case you want to see the Back to the Future cake in action with the flames being blown out, and it looks really awesome. But you'll have to full screen it and really get a good look. I'm acting like people are watching this on a desktop. You're probably watching this on your phone, but I use my desktop for everything, except filming. I'm using my phone. Okay, catch you guys later.